everybody, welcome back to my channel. And today, you know what? I wanted to teach you one of the cornerstones of my business, which is the Think framework. And I came up with this framework because I was somebody who couldn't make progress in anything to do with my personal world, right? So that will be my business, riding my horses, relationships, doing chores around the house, anything like that. I always got myself in a little bit of a pickle, and all of my patterns, my routines, all of the things I thought about me unconsciously always came to the fore, and I could never figure it out. And this particular thing I designed when I was riding my horse, Vinny. And Vinny is a horse that we call battery saver. All that means is that he goes in his way. It's not sharp and fast and off the leg. And I came up with the Think framework. Now, the reason it's Think is really, really simple. It's Think because that's what I used to think on top of him. Why can't you think how to do this? Because it was always driving me a bit poco loco. So I borrowed everything I'd ever learned from anybody in the mindset game, and I put it all together into this. I think they're called mnemonics, aren't they? So that it would enable me to make progress in the moment instead of repeating an old pattern. So the T simply stands for thoughts. Now, thoughts are the key thing. Thoughts are beliefs, beliefs are thoughts. They're just sentences. They're things that we think. We think 60 to 90,000 thoughts a day. I might have told you this. And if you're somebody like me, and clearly I speak fast, so I think fast, and it drives me nuts because my partner thinks very slowly. It's a bit like my horse, actually. Then we've got a lot of things going through our brains that we don't even have conscious awareness of. It's all of those old stories playing. These are your thoughts. I like to use a model that Brooke Castillo is famous for, and it's your thoughts create your feelings, which impact your actions and ultimately give you your results. And she likes to say it's all based on a circumstance. A circumstance is a fact. I've got another video on this if you want to go find it, where I dig into this a little bit deeper. But essentially, our thoughts are here. And if you don't like what you're getting here, which is your results, you have to go up and change your thought or your feeling or both. Here's why. Let's say you're doing something. Let's say you're doing some marketing and your brain just keeps offering, I can't be bothered. I don't want to do it. I'm not excited about it. Because you're feeling despondent. You're not feeling inspired. You're not feeling enthusiastic. So we have to change those. Otherwise, we're not going to do anything. Nothing changes. So I always start with, how am I thinking? What am I thinking? Then I go to H, which actually is how. Now, guys, hopefully you're used to me by now. This is just my process. There's nothing gimmicky, nothing smart, nothing video editing. This is just me, my board, and you. So how? How do I do something? It's one of the most frequent and common questions, right? If somebody asks you to do something you've never done before, you're always going to go, but how? And here's the truth. We never figure out the how until we have done it, until we've become the version of us that creates it. So I changed the how into, who do I need to be? So anytime my brain offers, but how do I do that? I swap it. Who do I need to be to do it? Because if I'm on default, and my default is, well, if it's too hard, I'm not going to do it, or if it's not coming fast, I'm not interested, which is my default, maybe not yours, but mine, then I go, well, that person will never learn to do that. She'll never figure the how of that out. Is that who I want to be? So that's always a quick way to do a pattern interrupt to get me to stop and refocus. Which leads me to the I. The I like to have for inspiration. My experience is, if I can be inspired by something, then I'm going to actually do something more, right? So here's that feeling. The feeling is inspiration. If I'm inspired, I'm probably going to go and do something, act in a better way. So I like to find things that inspire me. David Goggins, for example, inspires me daily at the moment. Who inspires you? That's what that is. And hopefully at some point you will inspire yourself. Then the elephant in the room, guys. This is the one that is the responsible one for all of the dreams that turn to nothing. It's when we start to negotiate. It's when we start to create excuses in our brains. They sound plausible. It's raining. Can't possibly go for a run. Can't possibly put that funnel together because I don't have the tools. It sounds logical and rational, but if we really pare it all back, it's an excuse. It's probably a story we've been telling ourselves since teeny tiny land, and that's what's keeping us stuck. So within my think framework, I want you to always understand what we're negotiating, what you're excusing, and what patterns you're replaying. And then finally, the K is knowledge. Now, knowledge is a funny one, right? Because you would think I would go out and get more knowledge. But for me, I'm somebody that if I'm listening to 52 people all at the same time, I get very confused and I start to negotiate in my brain and I'll come up with excuses. So if X is telling me you should go and do A, B, and C, and Y is contradicting that, I sit in the middle and I go, well, I don't know what to do, so let me just go and do nothing. Buffer. It's my action, it's my buffering. So I don't actually progress any forward. So how do I use this in reality in my business? If I've got the think framework, changing color, see, high-tech stuff, hey, high-tech. And I'm finding myself stuck, or I don't like my results, they don't like what I'm creating, I'm going to remind myself, well, how am I thinking? And I'm going to go back to my thoughts to find some thoughts that inspire me again. Then I'm going to say, well, who do I need to be to get to the person or get to the results that I want? What can I do that's going to inspire me? What am I making excuses for? What am I negotiating? Why aren't I getting things done? And what knowledge do I need, or do I actually need anything? And 9 times out of 10, well, you know enough. Then I can go backwards. Why am I stuck? Why do I think I need to know more? Do I really need to know more? Who am I listening to? Am I using that as an excuse not to feel inspired so that I can't create that version of me that has the thoughts that gets the shit done? So this is how I run through it, because you know yourself best. I know that if you're currently sitting there at your desk and you're thinking to yourself, I should be doing, and should is such a bad thing, right? No, should, it's like shoulding all over yourself. I should be doing X, Y, and Z, but I can't figure it out. Use my think framework. If you're stuck in negotiation, and for me, that's where I'm usually, right? Because I'm not doing what I should be doing, then I can check, do I need to know more? Or is it just a case I need to get re-inspired? In order to get re-inspired, I have to remember who I want to be, who I want to become. What is it that I want to create? What is it that I got as a goal that I want to have in my life? So what's my future self? Because she can do all this stuff. What thoughts did she use to get there? How did she operate? What was she thinking and feeling? Because that's the key. So that in a nutshell is my think framework. I usually teach this over 6 weeks, but I wanted to throw it in here because I just know that maybe if you follow this, this could help you too, because here's the key. Doesn't matter if you're building an online business, trying to get to Grand Prix on your horse, trying to get fitter, lose weight, eat better, clean the house, doesn't really matter what it is. If the result that you're getting isn't what you want, you've got to do some work. Something's got to change. You've got to find out what it is that's preventing you from achieving it and solve that problem. And typically, the older you get, the more wise you are about this and the more you'll recognize those patterns. Please, please, please don't be alarmed, because sometimes we still can't see what's obvious to others. That's why we get help. That's why I don't think you should do anything on your own. You should always get somebody to give you feedback, because you might be doing better than your brain will offer or allow you to think, or it could just be one little thing that you're not seeing, that if somebody helps you open it up to your consciousness, you can move forward. So yeah, think framework. I hope that was useful. As always, like and subscribe for more little snippets like this. And if you want to know more about what I do, the links are below. Otherwise, I see you in the next one. Bye.